Hello,
I'm Fernanda Luna.
and I'm Daniela Luna.
And I'm in third semester in International Business.
I'm in third semester in law,
Both
in Universidad de Guanajuato.
And we are
So happy to say thank you
your donation are happy
to achieve our life project. Bye-bye!
They helped me follow my dreams and my professional career. Thank you very much for your help. I am very grateful and humble. I promise that I take advantage of it. Thank you.
Your generosity is transforming lives in Mexico.
Your donations are helping me to be the biotechnological engineer that I dreamed. I will always be grateful to you.
My family and I were blessed with your support and solidarity.
Thank you so much for all your support and this opportunity for me to continue to finish my studies. Also, I want to thank Jóvenes Adelante for all the support, for my mentor, and also for all these workshops that help me to grow as professional, as a person, and also to learn so many things. Also, I wanna tell you that I'm already working at Cabin Corporation in Monterrey, where I'm right now, and I have no words to explain how grateful I am with you, because I feel that without this support, without this opportunity, I wouldn't be able to finish my studies.
Being part of Jóvenes Adelante is just something amazing, something that changes your life completely. They give you not only financial support, they also give you psychology support. Every student has a mentor who will be guiding you from all your career. Every time that you have a problem, they are persons that will help you to solve it. Being part of Jóvenes Adelante is to have a new family, to know new friends, to be part of teams with the ones that you can create new projects to help your community. And I'm working in 2 NGOs here in San Miguel de Allende. One of them is Hospice Care and the other one is Rotary Club International.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday morning service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. I almost said New Jersey, sorry. I just moved here last year. My name is Susan MacDonnell. I'm happy to be the service leader today. Our service today, Scholarships Open Doors to the World, will highlight not just the wonderful work of Jóvenes Adelante, an NGO near and dear to many UU hearts here in San Miguel, but will introduce us to Pedro Hernandez and his good friend and classmate, Jose Luis Servin, whose dreams for a college education, Pedro's dreams for a college education, were helped along in significant ways by the support he received from Jóvenes Adelante. I think we're all in for a treat. Whether in person or on Zoom, we're grateful to come together once again, keeping the ties of our community strong and resilient. If you're here on Zoom, you're one of many across Mexico, Canada, and the US, probably even other countries, joining our service today. We strive to be a loving community for each other and for our neighbors. We're always mindful that the physical community, the land on which our fellowship meets and resides, are located on the ancestral lands of the Chichimeca, Otomi, and Nahua peoples. We're all welcome here, of any faith or no particular faith. We're welcome here in this physical space and virtual space that technology now affords us. People of all abilities and gifts are welcome, as are people of all affectional orientations and gender identities and income levels, as well as all the thoughts and questions we bring with us about matters of faith and beyond. We are all welcome in a Unitarian Universalist space. After this service, those on Zoom are invited to stay connected and visit with each other. And those of you here in the Aldea, join us downstairs for coffee and cookies if you have the time, and meet Pedro and Jose Luis and some of the others from our fellowship who've been involved in Jóvenes Adelante. If we have any visitors here today, would you stand so we can see who you are and introduce you? Give us your name and where you're coming from.
I'm Carol, and I am living here. I moved to San Miguel on November 1, and I moved from a country off the coast of France called Guernsey. But I am an expat Canadian. I lived in Guernsey for 25 years.
Marvelous. I'm going to try to repeat that. I'll try to get that essence of that for the Zoom folks who may not have heard. This was Carol. She lives here now, moved here in November, I think you said. And she's an expat from the island of Guernsey off the coast of France. Yay. My memory's not as terrible as I sometimes think it is. We do record our Sunday in-person services, and we expect to post today's service on YouTube by Wednesday of this coming week, if all things work out. Meanwhile, we'll be working to get caught up on past services, so check our YouTube channel under UUFSMA to access the many services that are already posted there. Please check the order of service on our website to see the various events sponsored by the fellowship, and read on ways that you can become a volunteer and become involved in our congregation. Now, Alicia will give our opening words.
Good morning. Our opening words today are by Raquel Reyes. Es de luz la chalice. Luz de sol to warm your days, luz de luna to illuminate your nights, luz de estrella to steer you through your oceans, luz de vela to celebrate your dreams. Este luz, this chalice, is lit for you this day, that it and this community may be a source of light to guide you into adulthood.
Let's now join our voices together in song. Hymn 134, if you're using the hymnal, Our World is One World. I invite you to stand as you're able and willing. Words will appear on the screen, if that's easier to follow. Our world is one world. Now I invite you to all join together in reciting our fellowship's unique covenant, first in English and then with Miguel Angel in Spanish. The words will be on the screen. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, and seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
Good morning. My name is Mark Hansmeyer, and I'm a member of this Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. I'm delighted to be among you and share with you. Sometimes I have been asked to give voice to some of the heartfelt feelings of happiness, grief, joy, fear, pain, all kinds of things that we carry within. These have been sent in to Reverend Tom Rossiello, our minister. If you have a joy or concern that you would like to share in next week's Sunday service, please email it to Tom Rossiello. If you have a matter to share today and you're coming to us via Zoom, you can click on the chat box at the bottom of your screen and type that in so that others will see it. Sometimes when we contemplate the disappointments and the frustrations and the losses in our lives and in this world, it can feel so heavy. It can bring on a kind of soul sickness, world weariness, and the darkness descends. It can blind us to what is good in us and around us, because there is truth to be found. There is love. There is the delightful and the deliciously absurd. A couple of observations from Buddhist teacher Pema Chodron. It's good for us to look at ourselves and learn to laugh at ourselves. If we look, we can see reasons to laugh. We can see humor and foolishness and craziness in our lives. So the spiritual teaching here is lighten up. Well, there's another suggestion, and that is to approach the hard things in life with curiosity. Hold off judging things too quickly. Hold off thinking that you have to evaluate what's going on, assuming you know, because there's always more happening beneath the surface. Let's not assume we know what we're seeing. Today we're lighting candles. Each one represents a joy or concern. Our first, we light a candle for Elisa Gonzalez. She is recuperating from surgery, and she wants us all to know that she is doing all her exercises. That makes it sound like she is definitely progressing. And I believe her email address is going to appear either in the chat box or someplace else. And I hope you'll consider contacting her. A second, we light a candle of concern and healing for Bob Kalt and Christy McGew. Bob was diagnosed with an aggressive form of leukemia, and treatment started immediately. He's at the University of Michigan Medical Center, and they believe they have a great team caring for him. But the next couple of weeks, they anticipate being very difficult. He's going to be receiving several very strong medications, and most likely will make him very, very sick. But they understand that these steps are necessary for his treatment. Christy is there with Bob, supporting him on this journey. And so we send our thoughts, positive wishes to both Bob and Christy. This candle is one of gratitude for music, for music that is happening here today at the Aldea, for the music that has returned to the city of San Miguel. All of these fabulous performances that we have the opportunity to take part in. We light a candle of care and concern for Don Kelly, a member of the San Miguel community. He has a cancer that has been spreading through his body. Karen Kelly has often performed at the piano in our Sunday services. We light a candle in gratitude for all of the people who work so hard to prepare and bring us these services. If you haven't been directly involved, you have no idea. We light a candle of concern and solidarity for the people of Ukraine. Those who remain in their homes, those who have sought refuge elsewhere, those who are defending their land. And a candle for all of the matters that are held deep in our hearts and have not been mentioned today. I invite you to some moments of silence as you think what's happening in yourself and your neighbor. May it be so.
We've come to the time in our service when we have the opportunity to contribute to the vitality and fiscal soundness of our own fellowship, and also that of the many nonprofit partners who do so much important work in San Miguel de Allende. Whether our particular offering today is big or small, we know that taken together, these contributions make big changes possible, not just for our fellowship, but for the hundreds of individuals and families who are served by the NGOs receiving grants through our Social Action Committee grant program. When introducing the offering, we frequently will highlight the work of one of our partner organizations. For today's service, we don't need to do that, because our service theme itself is a celebration of the important work of one of our grant recipients, Jóvenes Adelante. Through scholarships and mentorship, Jóvenes Adelante helps make it possible for promising financially challenged students to pursue a university education. Here at the Aldea, the basket will be passed, and in a moment, for those of you on Zoom, you'll see the donation link appear. Whether now during the offering or later when you have more time, please contribute generously. You can go to the website www.uufsma.org, and you can pay by card or PayPal. Our fellowship is strong and will stay strong through our generous donations as we continue to go forward. And we move forward best when we choose to remember that even though we might often feel small and insignificant or inconsequential, we are all connected to one another through an amazing, multicolored, interconnected web of existence. What affects us affects others, and what affects others affects us. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, thank you. It is so good to see so many of you here today. Good morning. I'm Robin Loving, and it's my privilege today to be introducing our presenters. I'm a member of both the UU Social Action Committee as well as the Sunday Service Committee, so this means a lot to me. In addition, I'm a former president of Jóvenes Adelante and now a mentor with them, so it's really a thrill. For the benefit of those who are new UUs or others visiting or those zooming in, you might have heard earlier that JA, Jóvenes Adelante, is one of our grant recipients. With our donation, we're investing in the future of this region by sponsoring students who are not only the brightest, but in many, many cases, the first in their families ever to attend university. They couldn't do it without our financial sponsorship opening the door for them. Their presentation today is yet another thank you note for those of you who support our UU. Your gifts are warming their days, illuminating their nights, steering them through rough patches, and celebrating the dreams of a better life for all of their families. Pedro Hernandez Chavarria is one of our outstanding JA students, and via your sponsorship, he receives financial support, a laptop, English, life skills, career connections, psychological support, and a mentor, who is our very own Alicia Price. For these reasons, and the fact that JA has an 85% graduation rate, JA's University Support Program is known as the most comprehensive in all of Mexico. Jose Luis Servin is Pedro's friend and also his fellow classmate. The two intend, with two others, to open their own architecture firm next year when they graduate. But first, they have to complete their internships with the city's planning office. Not everybody gets that big an opportunity for an internship. With these two outstanding students here today are Betsy Davies, one of the founders of Jóvenes Adelante, Nora Weaver, who is the JA's board member, who supports members such as Alicia, and Pedro's girlfriend, Lorena, who is also a student at a university locally and is studying nursing. Congratulations, Lorena. These students have something for everyone today, something spiritual about ancient temples, evidence of our social action, and the opportunity to socialize with you at happy hour, maybe coffee hour after the service. They are 22 though, it's okay. Okay, for those of you who are armchair travelers, get ready to explore the eastern coast of Mexico, where we have architecture, culture, and traditions that are important to us all today. En La Yucatán, and specifically in Campeche, Mérida, y Tabasco, are some of the major religious centers of the world. In fact, they've been compared with Jerusalem and Mecca because they've been pilgrimage sites for more than 1,000 years. Perhaps some of you have been to Chichen Itza, which of course we don't say like chicken pizza. So get ready and sit on the edge of your seats because you're going to have a high impact presentation today. Pedro, Jose Luis.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Pedro Antonio Hernandez Chavarria, and I am an architecture student at the University of León San Miguel de Allende campus. I am currently in the 12th semester of my university career, almost 8 months to finish my degree. My mentor, Alicia Price, invited me here, and I am excited to be able to tell a little about my experience of my internship trip that I did last year in November, where the Great Association of Jóvenes Adelante contributed so that I could do it. I must also mention that I am a Jóvenes Adelante scholar and that they have been a great support during my career. It really is a great association to which I always be grateful for the great work of supporting young university students like me. Well, he's my friend Jose Luis Servin. He was with me on my trip and he will be supporting me in this talk. Well, I'll let him introduce himself. Go ahead, Jose Luis.
Hello everyone, good morning. I'm glad to be here and share with my friend Pedro a little of the great experience we had on this internship trip to the southeast of the country. In this first image, we can see the archaeological site called Etzna, located in the state of Campeche. This site was a community formed by a civilization called Los Mayas, where we can appreciate its architecture with a large-scale monumental building. It's known that it was a very well-organized community where they had temples, squares, and place to play. It was interesting to learn about this place, to understand what its way of life was like for ancient civilization that were dedicated to agriculture, and something surprising about this place is that it had an admirable hydraulic system through aqueducts that served to supply rainwater.
In this picture, we can see the main pyramid of this archaeological site. That is a 5-story pyramid and had the function of being a palace where the most important people of that civilization lived. The pyramid is square, about 60 meters per side, and has 5 bodies that make a total height of 20 meters. In the photo are my friend Jose Luis, myself, and other classmates.
Another interesting place we visited was El Fuerte de San Jose. Located in Campeche in the past, it served as a military construction to defend the coast. It was interesting to see this monumental construction and understand the peculiar characteristics that military construction of that time had to have. Now it works as a museum where things that were used in the 18th century from different weapons and vessels are exhibited.
In this picture behind me is the pyramid called the Fortune Teller. With a weight of 35 meters, it was a temple located in this archaeological site called Uxmal, located in Yucatan, and is one of the archaeological zones of the Mayan culture, whose architecture is one of the most majestic of Yucatan. Its beauty is characterized by having low and horizontal palaces placed around patios or quadrangles, which are rich in decoration of highly detailed sculptures made with thousands of small stones, perfectly polished and adjusted, forming geometric mosaics of unparalleled perfections in the entire area Maya.
In this photo, Pedro and I appear at the same archaeological site called Uxmal, and in the background, one of the several pyramids that they were.
Here I am in the central square of the Uxmal archaeological site. We can see that it was a large place where ceremonies, battles, and even sacrifices were carried out. As for architecture, we can appreciate great works of stone carving that you can see in more detail in the following image.
Here we can appreciate in more detail the decoration of their buildings that they were carved in stone. It is really surprising that the aesthetics that they had in their architectural details, that they were sculptures toward their gods. In the second image, we can see a Mayan arch that today is one of the construction methods that has prevailed through time. We can then say that the Mayan civilization were great creators of architecture for their unique construction methods.
Another place we visited was the Venta Museum located in Tabasco. This museum has one of the largest collection of monumental pieces belonging of the Olmec culture, which was the first civilization in Mesoamerica. In this photo, we are Jose Luis and I and another college. From the race in the background, we can see one of the famous largest colossal heads, carved in stone in the shape of an Olmec character.
Now it's time to talk a little about this great place that is archaeological site called Chichen Itza, located in Yucatan, and was also a Mayan city. In the photo, again, we are several classmates, and in the background, you can see the famous castle of Kukulkan. It measures 60 meters per side and has a height of 24 meters. It is important to mention that this archaeological site is considered a wonder of the modern world. Chichen Itza was one of the most popular cities by the Mayan. It is said that they had a lot of knowledge in agriculture, architecture, and astrophysics, since all their pyramids had a perfect orientation with the stars, and the architecture stands out for its monumentality in which they were built, the pyramids.
In this picture, we continue to see the magnificent pyramid called El Castillo de Kukulkan. In this photo, we can appreciate one of the places that the Mayans used to play a famous game called the ball game, where we can appreciate the monumentality of the place. It is known that the acoustic in this place were surprising since they could be easily heard from one place to another over a long distance. It is interesting to understand how they achieve such great acoustic in the buildings.
Here in this photo, we can see how was the place where the ruler of civilization was located, to be able to see the battles, the games and ceremonies, and where they also carried out human sacrifice to their gods. It was a sacred place where only few could climb. Well, in this photo, we can see one of the cenotes that we visited that was also part of our trip. They really are very beautiful places of great depth and with crystal clear water. In the past, these cenotes were the source of capturing water, and that is how civilization supplies water, and these were able to survive. For the Mayan, the cenotes were sacred places. Its formation was once thought to be due to a meteorite, but it clearly has a more scientific explanation.
In our trip, we had the opportunity to also get to know the city of Mérida, Yucatan. In the left photo, we can see the city's cathedral that has a Renaissance architectural style. And in the right photo, we can see a house with an eclectic style. For us, it was enriching to be able to tour the city a bit and get to know its architecture. In conclusion, it was a very enriching trip where we were able to learn about the architecture, culture, traditions, and history of our country. This is the end of the presentation. I hope you like it, and thank you for your attention.
Outstanding, guys. You're doing us proud. Okay, let's join our voices together in song for hymn 318, We Would Be One. I invite you to stand as you're willing and able, and you've got both the hymnals as well as the screen with the lyrics. Thank you.
Our closing words today are written by James Morrison. Share your glorious light with the world. Within each of our hearts there is a most glorious light. Go forth and let its spark help you understand what troubles both you and others. Go forth and let its light of reason be a guide for your decisions. Go forth and bring its ray of hope to those in need of help in both body and spirit. They may find healing. Go forth and fan the flames of passion to help heal our world. Go forth and spread the warm glow of love, pushing back the darkness of the world. Go forth and share your glorious light with the world. I welcome you to join us for coffee and cookies in the garden after.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress. Recording stopped.